Hi folks, sorry again. It seems like we had some technical difficulties. I seem to be cutting in and out here, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is sponsored by the Boston University Alumni Association and is offered to our 326,000 alumni around the globe. Thank you all for being here. Some brief housekeeping notes. As you know by now, the webinar is being hosted on the Adobe Connect online meeting platform. If you continue to experience any trouble with the audio or visual portions of today's presentation, I'll ask that you please contact Adobe Connect at 1-800-422-3623. That number again is 1-800-422-3623. Today's presentation is being recorded and will soon be made available for on-demand viewing on the BU Alumni Association website found at www.bu.edu/alumni. We'll actually be taking quite a look at that website today. I'm looking forward to taking any questions you have, and you're welcome to submit them throughout the presentation using the Q&A chat box at the bottom of the screen. Only I will be able to see these questions, so no worries at all about confidentiality or anything like that. I'll try to keep an eye on this Q&A box as I go through my presentation, but we'll certainly keep time at the end to cover any questions that I don't get to while I go through my little slide deck here. And with that, let's get started. Throughout your career, the BU Alumni Association is committed to helping you define and achieve your professional goals. We aim to do this by providing alumni with access to a series of valuable online tools and social media communities. My goal today is to give you a very brief overview of these resources, 90% of which you're going to access right from our website, and that's again at bu.edu/alumni/careers, or if you just, all you can remember is bu.edu/alumni, use the menu on the left-hand side of the screen and click on careers to access all of this stuff. So my plan for the next probably 35 minutes or so is to run through some slides. We'll jump back and forth between the resources on the web and on our website. Looking over my registration list for this webinar today, looks like we have a really even spread of ages. I don't know if this is interesting to you, but I'm throwing this up here. We've got just as many folks in their 20s as we do in their 50s, even some folks, some alumni who are working well into their 60s. One other piece of information that would be really helpful for me to know is what career stage you might be in. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up a poll here. That if you could go ahead and select the answer that you feel best describes you. Are you a new professional seeking advancement? Are you middle management looking to break through? Are you an experienced professional considering a complete career change? Unemployed or underemployed? Are you happily employed, just looking to stay competitive? None of the above, or maybe you just love doing these free lunchtime webinars that we do. So obviously we seem to have a lot of folks here who are actively looking for work. Great. I hope that we can shed some light on some things that might be helpful to you. Also for folks who are, are actively working but are really trying to think about making a big move, I think we'll talk about a couple resources that you might find to be helpful. So thank you, all of you, for weighing in on this poll. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end that. Let me just move that out of the way here. So, our resources are best explained, I think, by putting them into 4 categories, and you'll find that they are laid out in a pretty similar fashion on our website when you get there. We've got tools that I think are able to help you prepare for your career in a specific job search. Tools and social media communities that I think can help you build a strong BU network, and that's where I think the Alumni Office and BU can really add some value for you. And then lastly, specific resources to help you find open positions in the open market. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of us all building a strong alumni community that supports each other by kind of paying it forward. So we'll dive right in with our 8 ways. You'll see that I've put nice big red numbers next to the ways that I think that we can add some help. First and foremost is our, in terms of preparing yourself, is our alumni webinar series. You're taking part in that right now. We do these monthly. They normally are all done by alumni for alumni. I think it's great that we've got some amazingly talented career coaches and speakers around the globe who are willing to give back to the BU community by um, sharing their expertise. And I'll show you some of the sessions we've done in the past. You can take a look at our extensive online archive of on-demand webinars. Secondly, social media is obviously a huge piece of anybody's job search. We'll talk quite a bit about LinkedIn, but we're doing some cool things with social media, specifically Twitter. We run a great series called Terriers at Work that I think of as an online job shadowing experience. And we'll show you where you can access an archive of all those things and see, follow the account to see what might be coming up in the next couple months. And of course, one really important thing for all of you to know is that as alumni, you will always have access to specific and skilled career counselors at the Center for Career Development. I want to make sure that you check out their website at bu.edu/careers. They offer regular skills workshops that you are welcome to attend as an alum. Many of you also might know that some of our school and colleges also offer specific dedicated career staff. Com has them, Questrom has them, the law school has them. People who can be really help you hyper focus in a job search. So one thing I will mention about the Center for Career Development is that some of you who've been out of school longer than 2 years, and there's certainly a number of you on the call today, might find that you have to pay a fee for a one-on-one dedicated coaching appointment, which can be done in person or online. Or virtually. I think it's $25. You will find that it is pennies on the dollar compared to what you might pay a private coach on the open market. And in many cases, if there's any kind of economic hardship, if you're currently going through unemployment, you might find that they waive that fee. All right, so let's take a quick look at these resources on our actual website. I'm going to try to pull that up here. And there we go. So you've landed on bu.edu/alumni, as I mentioned, right on the left-hand side. Click on careers. There's a bit of an intro page here, and then the important piece is this hyperlink on the second paragraph or even on the right-hand side. Click on career development resources, and that's where you'll find everything listed out. We talked about the webinar series a little bit, and I wanted to show you our library. So this landing page will show you all the webinars we've got coming up. We've got one that's going to be great next week about strategically increasing your media exposure for your practice. An awesome one in February, 7 ideas for workplace health from a Silicon Valley professional. But then the second part of the page is our library. And this is an extensive, I think we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 webinars that we've done over the years. Everything from, industry specific topics and just basic, topics that apply to everybody. Boosting your career confidence. Who couldn't benefit from doing a little bit of that? So it's a long list. We're actually working on a tag system where you'll be able to search through these a little bit more, and I hope to roll that out in the next couple of months. But again, a great resource, I think, for those of you who are looking for something to do during a lunch break or with a second cup of coffee in the morning. This is a great thing to try out. I mentioned Terriers at Work. You'll need a Twitter account to be able to follow this, but we regularly have many alumni who will take over this account for a day and tweet about what it's like to work at their company, in their industry, in their specific job, and be available to answer questions from folks. So definitely, if you're a Twitter user, follow Terriers at Work. The other thing I would mention is you can access an archive of all of our previous participants by going to Storify. So it's Storify, STORIFY.com/Terriers at Work. And you can browse through every single session we've ever done. We've had some really interesting ones. My favorite was we had an alum who works for the Boston Celtics doing, I think, social media stuff, and that was really interesting to see the behind the scenes of what it's like to work at the Celtics. So definitely check that out. I also mentioned accessing staff at the Center for Career Development. Again, their website is bu.edu/careers. I should also back up for a second and mention I will turn my presentation into a PDF and email it to all of you later today. So you'll have direct links to all of these things. You don't have to remember them or memorize them. But so the CCD's website is a huge wealth of resources. And then right through the site here, you can find information about how you can schedule a one-on-one appointment or attend some of the upcoming events that they have that are highlighted here. Make sure that you spend some time to visit their website and check that out. Okay, back to our next section of topics. And I mentioned again, this, building a strong BU network is an area where I feel BU can really add some value for you. First and foremost, and I've bolded it here, I think the most valuable resource that I think that we offer is the BU Career Advisory Network. This is a database of 7,517 alumni advisors who have raised their hands, made themselves available, said that they are, want to be mentors. They're willing to network with you. They're willing to share their experience and their advice. They're willing to meet for coffee. There's actually, they have the ability to sort of say the different types of help that they're willing to do with a resume review or a mock interview, those kinds of things. And so we'll take a spin through that database in just a minute, but definitely make sure that you note that. I think it's a really incredible resource. Number 5 on our list of 8 ways is sort of an amalgamation of things that my office offers, but certainly attending alumni events, being a part of the BU alumni community networks in our specific cities. By visiting our website, you can get a look at where our alumni live, where events are happening around the globe. Our office, I'm a member of a team of about 20 people. We collectively do nearly 1,000 in-person events and online events around the globe during the course of an average year. We also, in the last couple of years, have added a series of online speed networking events, a really efficient way to jump online for an hour during your lunch break and make 7 or 8 new connections, sometimes by industry, sometimes by region. And so all of those things, again, I can't stress it enough, visiting our website to learn more about those things. Now, here's the key. Your zip code is key for you to be invited to the events that are happening in your area. We send out way too many emails every week announcing some of the events that are taking place in cities near you. And if we don't have your updated address, we're either not sending you invitations at all, or sending you information about a city that you don't live in. We've really gotten away from doing things via snail mail. It's very expensive. It certainly wastes a lot of paper in doing that. And so we really rely on our digital email marketing efforts and social media to get the word out to you about things that are happening in your area. So make sure that you're keeping us updated on what your address is. As many of you probably know, the top 3 cities that alumni live in are Boston, New York, and DC. We certainly have active volunteers running events in the California Bay Area, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Miami. Internationally, BU alumni networks are really growing. Obviously, many of you know that our international student population has exploded in the last decade. And we've got some amazing alumni networks that are thriving in China, the UK, India, UAE, Turkey, and others. I've talked about the importance of attending these events to build your network. You never know who you might meet. One thing to plop on your calendars, if you're not familiar with it already, and during the month of April, we do volunteer community service programs all over the world in our series called Global Days of Service. That's an awesome opportunity to meet alumni in your city. They happen in our big alumni networks and in very, very small cities where we don't have a ton of alumni, places like Phoenix or Dubai. So definitely make sure to check that out. That's a good thing to sort of circle on your calendar for April. And then again, our online speed networking series has been really popular. So far in the last 2 years, we've helped alumni make 8,756 networking connections. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Obviously, we'll talk quite a bit about LinkedIn, and this to me is always sort of a hotbed topic whenever I connect with alumni. And I want to ask you a question to hear about your experience on LinkedIn. First and foremost, and I'll throw up another poll question here. How many of you are actually on LinkedIn? You have a profile. And then while you're clicking on that, I'll ask my follow-up question that sometimes is a little bit more interesting. How many of you actually know what to do with LinkedIn? So if you would take a second to click on both of those polls, yeah, certainly. 100% of you so far have an active LinkedIn profile. Few of you feel like you really know how to use it, 30%, but we've got another 65 who know a little bit. Only a couple of you willing um, to admit that you really don't know what it's good for. Um, I won't belabor the point. I have something to share with you that I think that you'll be excited to learn about. Many people don't know about the alumni search tool on LinkedIn, so we'll talk about that. And then certainly we've got a huge group on LinkedIn. The Boston University Alumni Group is a great resource that I'll show you. And then lastly, a really amazing tool that we've added in the last couple of years is our mobile app. You can find out more information about that at bu.edu/alumni/app. This puts the power of the BU alumni directory on your mobile device. And I'll give you a little sneak peek into how that works, but basically using map functionality plus the ability to link your LinkedIn connection, you can see where BU alumni live and work near you. A really great resource. So let's take a look at those real quick. Okay. Hang on while I get my screen share pulled up here. Okay, the Career Advisory Network. Let's go back to the career resources. We're going to go back to the career landing page, and under the networking section, you'll find Career Advisory Network. Now, here's the thing. You will need to log into our website to do this, and I know many of you probably haven't logged into our site before. You might have created an online profile for yourself 10 years ago, and maybe you haven't visited our website again. That's fine. We have staff who can help you recreate a login account. We do not keep anybody's password on file. I think that's actually against some kind of internet law. But just be aware that it might take a day or two for us to support you in launching a new online account. But here's the Career Advisory Network. Again, a giant database of people who've made themselves available, and you can search by a lot of different parameters. If you want to search specifically to your region, specifically to what you studied, specific to a company that you're interested in, you can do all of those things here. If you know somebody who works at a company that you're interested in, want to find out if they've made themselves available, you can search by their first name and last name. You can also search by, again, the type of assistance they are willing to offer. If it's a one-time meeting, long-term mentoring, resume review, all these sorts of things. So as with any search, I would recommend starting broadly and then narrowing down from there. So let's say, for example, you went to engineering and are looking to connect with other engineering grads who work in Chicago. Now, what I would suggest doing is clicking on College of Engineering, and you could put Chicago in the city field, but what I have found is that sometimes it pulls a person's home address. They might not live in Chicago. So I would start with the state and then again narrow it down from there. So let's see engineering grads who live in Illinois, and this is probably going to give us a huge number, and that's okay. Okay, just 9, but we've got 9 folks in Illinois who've signed up to be career advisors. Some of them you can see have linked their social media accounts. You can see what their titles are, the organizations that they work for, and the type of assistance they're willing to offer. Let's refine this search a little bit. Let's say I want to specifically, and this is sort of my go-to because people always are interested to see alumni who work at Google. I'm going to unselect engineering because I'm not worried if they specifically went to engineering or not. I'm also going to remove Illinois, and let's see, I'm interested in Massachusetts now. I know that we've got several folks working for Google here in Boston, and I'm going to search for that. We've got a couple folks. So this is interesting. I searched for Massachusetts, but we got a San Francisco. Somebody might have not updated their home address, but gave us their business address, that kind of thing. But then you can click on their name and connect with them right through the system here. I'm actually seeing something different because I am an admin on the site, but I can see here that Seth has published an email address. Any questions about the Career Advisory Network that I can answer for you? I'll jump back to my other screen real quick to see if we've got anything that's come up. Nothing so far. Okay, but we will, like I said, we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. We talked a little bit about alumni networks. This gets us away from the career-specific pages of our website, but definitely by checking out community on the left-hand side here, and you can search for alumni near you. It'll talk all about where our alumni networks are. Here's a great map showing where alumni live around the globe. Let's say, again, I was looking to connect with folks in Chicago. Well, I can see here that, we've got an alumni association contact. There's a way to get more information about things that are happening in Chicago. So definitely take a look at that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn. First and foremost, I want to make sure that you all, if you haven't already, join the Boston University Alumni Group. Again, we've got nearly 40,000 members, and it's just an opportunity for alumni to connect with each other. We certainly share information about upcoming events that you might be interested in, interesting articles. This was a great event that happened yesterday online, an opportunity to connect with some C-suite coaches. This is, to me, Peter's post here is exactly what this group should be for. Peter's relocating to Cleveland and looking to make some connections. I was so glad to see so many people respond to him offering to help. This to me is exactly what the BU spirit should be about, and helping each other out and serving as a resource for other alumni. So definitely make sure that you join this group. I also talked about, to me, the real value of LinkedIn. I think this next thing will really raise a lot of eyebrows. So just remember linkedin.com/alumni. I'm typing that into my browser. Uh-oh. What a time for that to happen. I wonder if this is down. Okay, I know the other thing that I can do is search for the school. So just by doing a generic search for Boston University, I can pick up the university page. Bear with me one more minute here. It comes up when I start searching in the box here. You'll want the selection for Boston University School. On this page, it has the same tool that I was trying to do a quick link to before, See Alumni. So this is automatically pulling up, because Boston University is also the last school I have listed on my profile. It'll pull this up. Different from the Career Advisory Network. So think of the Career Advisory Network as sort of a database of warm calls. This would be more of a cold call, but similar function in that I can search by where alumni live, where they work, what they do. If I use the next arrow on the upper right-hand corner, I can also search by what they studied, what they're skilled at, and most importantly, how you might be connected. So let's use that same example I was using before. We're going to show more, and I'm going to click on the Chicago area. By clicking on Chicago, no, it's not letting me click on that. So one of my gripes about LinkedIn, there we go, I had to click on the actual blue bar. So this brought up the profiles of 3,486 alumni. I can scroll through them down at the bottom of the screen here. Let's say, and also it automatically will show me where these folks work. So a lot of folks living in Chicago are in higher education, Chicago Public Schools, United Airlines, healthcare. So let's, I also want to add in, okay, I also want to connect with engineering alumni. Let's use computer science instead. But you can search by all of those things by using the search box up top here. All right, so now I've narrowed it down to 94 alumni, and then I can see I have 60 third-degree connections, and then there are 11 people, computer science alumni in Chicago that I have a second-degree connection with, meaning that somebody I'm connected to can introduce me to these folks. So this to me is super valuable for those of you who maybe there's a company that you're trying to break in at, and you're trying to find contacts within that company, this is a great tool for that. If you know that you're interested in moving to a new city, you can see what alumni are living and working in that city. Or maybe for those of you who are thinking about a career change, use this, plug in, roughly the time that you graduated and what you studied, and take a look at what those folks are doing with their degrees, and how your experience might translate into what they're doing. And then finally, I mentioned briefly the Alumni app. I can't show you that because it's mobile device only right now. They are working on a desktop version, but I do have a couple screenshots that I wanted to share with you about the app. This is what the icon looks like in the App Store. And if you visit our webpage, you can find direct links to download from the Apple Store and also the Google Play Store. I think there might be another version as well. But this one screenshot I wanted to show you is where I think the real networking value is in the app. That by pulling up New York, it literally shows these little terrier icons, all the places where alumni are working. It defaults to work addresses. We thought it might not be a good idea to publish people's home addresses in this fashion. So this is where people work. Let's say if you are visiting New York for a conference and wanted to connect with people in the area, pull this up. And as you can see, when I look at Manhattan, this is only showing me 97 of 16,000 results. We've got a lot of alumni in the New York area. So a great resource that I hope that you all check out, and connect your LinkedIn profile to it. That way you don't have to worry about going back and updating it. While we're on the subject of networking, and again, I think leveraging your BU connections is a great way to advance in your career. But for those of you who maybe haven't done it in a while, or have, if you're just out of school and really don't have a lot of experience with networking, I wanted to share a couple thoughts with you about how to go about doing it. First and foremost, when you're connecting with somebody in the Career Advisory Network, or particularly finding them on LinkedIn, the first thing to do is ask for advice and info. Don't say, hey, I'm looking for a job, can you help? That's going to turn folks off. A lot of people use the dating analogy that, recommending somebody for a job is a little bit like dating. You really want to get to know them a little bit before you recommend somebody for a position at your organization, before they put their reputation on the line for somebody they don't know. So my request to you is, say, hey, could we meet for a cup of coffee so I can learn more about the company that you work at, how you got there, and any advice you might have to share. When you're contacting them, be really specific. Say, hey, I saw that you also attended Boston University. Here's why I think that you might be able to help me. Obviously, being professional is a no-brainer. Refrain from using jargon in your emails. Don't use all caps. Don't use slang, anything like that. I also want to take a minute to talk about responsible networking. I always recommend that people try to meet in person if that's at all possible. Phone meetings are great, but if you can get, share coffee and share space with somebody for 30 minutes, that's, I think, always more powerful. But do it in public. In today's day and age, I think it's really important to make sure that we're being safe. And so, if somebody invites you to meet in a private location, I would urge you to make sure that the first time you're doing it is at a coffee shop or something along those lines. And then lastly, again, to me, a no-brainer, but if somebody's willing to respond to your email, thank them for that. They took time to answer a question that you had, particularly if they're going out of their way to meet you in person. A little thank you note certainly never hurt anybody. Lastly, in terms of resources that BU can provide, there are some things that we can do specifically to help you find open positions. First and foremost is BU Handshake. This is a recently refreshed platform that we have that I'll do a little bit of a guided tour for you so you can see where jobs are posted specifically for the BU community. Our alumni LinkedIn group is also a place to look for jobs. People regularly post open positions. There's a jobs section that I'll show you in a minute. Again, social media, a great way to hear about open positions. And one of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of years is asking folks to post open positions at their employers using the hashtag HireBU. I think that you'll find that Twitter is the primary platform for this, but as I think Facebook and Instagram are also utilizing hashtag functionality, you might try that as well. And then lastly, we talked about attending events, connecting with your network locally, but there are some specific things happening both on campus and online that will allow you to search through open position and connect with employers. I specifically want to highlight for those of you who are somewhat local to Boston, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, we have our annual quote unquote spring career fair. That refers more, I think, to the semester than the actual season of the year in February. But, the career fairs are primarily for students, but all alumni are welcome to attend. I think those of you who are maybe just a couple of years out from BU will find more opportunities than some of you who are more seasoned professionals, but you never know who you might connect with. And so I definitely encourage anybody who's interested to plan on coming back to campus for that. And then in March, there's going to be a very large series of workshops I'll talk about in a second that are going to be great opportunities to connect with folks and hear about open positions. So again, let's go back to our website. And I'm going to go back to the alumni career page, again, career development resources. Under here, you'll find a job. You'll find the link for Handshake. Now, you'll have to request an alumni account. Those of you who attended BU full-time when Handshake was active probably can just log in with your Kerberos and BU username. But there is I'll send a link in the slide deck to request your account. This automatically logged me in because I've been in here before. There's a lot of things that you can do in Handshake, finding out about upcoming events. It's one important thing I want to make sure to mention. It defaults to refer to everybody as a student. My apologies about that. Don't be turned off by it. So you'll have a student account when you log into Handshake, even if you're an alum. But again, I think the bread and butter of Handshake is certainly the open position. So right up at the top, I'm going to click on jobs. And yesterday when I checked, scrolling down here, I see that there were 5,955 positions posted specifically for the BU community. And again, that's students and alumni. You will see a lot of internships posted, but you can, by selecting some of the search filters, really drill down on the positions that might be most applicable to you if you're looking for full-time or part-time. So there are positions posted all over the globe. This is a really fantastic resource, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about Handshake. It also, similarly allows you to browse through some events that are happening. Again, the majority of these are really directed at students, but many of them that you'll find are open to alumni as well. We talked again about LinkedIn. Let's go back to the Boston University alumni group. And it defaults to conversations, but you'll see here right up at the top, there's also a tab for jobs. We've got, this should be in the other category, and I'll move that. Greg's looking for somebody, or recently graduated from business school in New Jersey, Austin, Texas. Somebody's posted a job. So this is again a great resource, and I ask all of you to post open positions at your organizations as well. I think the more that the BU community can help each other by sharing this information, the better off we all are. And then, we talked about social media using hashtag HireBU. I'm sure you can find that on your own. And again, one important thing that I didn't highlight for you is alumni events. Okay, so let's go back to the BU alumni webpage, using one of my shortcuts to, you're seeing a different page because I'm logged in as an admin. My apologies. Okay, back to bu.edu/alumni, and then there's a whole section here just for events. Again, nearly 1,000 of them a year. Here at the bottom of the page, we highlight just a couple of them, but by clicking on View Calendar, you can see literally everything that's listed and coming up over the next, and this probably goes all the way to, I'm guessing, probably Alumni Weekend in September, even past that. We've got some trips that are happening for alumni into November of 2018. So again, just bu.edu/alumni/events will get you here. But this is a great place to come and browse and see what's happening near you. And you can certainly search by your region up at the top here. You can search by location, specific events for schools and colleges, the type of event that you're looking for. So you can just put in career and professional events and see what comes up. So that is pretty much it, folks. A couple other things I wanted to highlight for you. Got a couple questions here. Okay. RIS. Yes, I will absolutely share the slide deck. I've got a PDF that I'm going to email to everybody later today. I understand some folks are at work and might have some other things going on, so I'll email that out. Cece, is there a list of available companies going to the Spring Career Fair? Yes. When you'll register for that, you'll actually need to register on Handshake. That's a great question. The Center for Career Development runs that event, and so you'll register using Handshake once you've got a login. But just by going to their, why don't we take a look at that right now? We've got some time. I'm going to go back to share my screen. I'm going to guess that I can find it because I'm already logged in. Handshake. Austin University All Major Spring Career Fair 2018. All employers. Here we go. So yes, they will publish every employer that's coming beforehand. I know that even a month out, they are still adding some folks, but you probably have to be logged in order to access this. Possibly not. Not a great answer to your question, but the bottom line is yes, they will publish that list. Simone E. Delaney. Never heard of Handshake before. Okay, yes, he did graduate a while ago. Handshake's relatively new, but it's a great resource. Andrea has asked, do I recommend using, hang on folks, I'm gonna adjust my screen here for a second. The university career site, or if your grad school or individual school and college has its own career office, do you recommend that instead? Yeah, no, it's both, right? I certainly think starting with your school or college career staff is probably going to be the most applicable to the work that you might be doing. But that being said, for those of you who are thinking about a career change or are kind of open to lots of different paths, the Center for Career Development, I think, can be very, very helpful. So 2 great resources. Unfortunately, some of you don't have school or college specific ones, but I think that you'll find the counseling staff at the Center for Career Development is going to be really helpful. Joseph asked, is there a BU alumni network in Dallas? A small one. We actually will have, I believe, an event coming up, a networking event coming up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in March. So keep your eye out for that, Joseph. What help can BU provide as I am semi-retired and pursuing a board of directors assignment? So Joseph, I think that's where, again, it's going to be about using your BU network to find those connections. We certainly don't provide a list of organizations that are looking to add board members. But that's where I think if you can find organizations that you're interested in or feel like you can be useful to, that's where just using the BU network to make some connections on, folks who already have board positions or folks who, are senior level at the companies that you're interested in. That's where I think that you might find some value in using the resources that I've talked about. Okay, back to my presentation. A couple things I wanted to highlight for you before we wrap up. But again, I've got lots of time to answer any other specific or sort of unique to individuals questions as they come up. March 2018, we do a massive series of career programs called Alumni Career Weeks. This year we're going to have over 50 events. I know the up at the top we say 44 events. It's already over 50. We say 21 cities. It's actually going to be over 30. But we are going to be doing some awesome things, some networking, some workshops, some guest speakers, some panel discussions, all happening in the month of March. So now's a great time to pay attention to that and make sure we have your address on file so that we can send you those invitations to those events that are happening in your area. And of course, you'll be able to find out more information once we publish the full schedule, which I think will actually be at the end of next week. bu.edu/careerweeks. Right now, to sort of capitalize on the January, New Year's resolutions, New Year, New You, for a lot of you who are looking to find that next new job in 2018, we're doing something called the Career Kickstart Challenge. And those of you who sign up can be entered to win some really awesome prizes. Basically, each week we'll be sharing some specific resources and tips, and sort of tasking you with small things that you can do, and then let us know what you've done. So, watching a pre-recorded webinar, connecting with a CAN advisor, being a CAN advisor yourself. By doing all those small actions, I think you'll find that doing one small thing each week adds up to sort of a little bit of a momentum builder for you. This is kind of a long URL to access the Career Kickstart Challenge, but again, I'll email this deck to you later today. It's not too late to sign up. Have something like 130 people already participating, but you can jump in next week and continue to be a part of it. Last but not least, I think an important part of anybody's career, especially for those of you who've been working for a long time, is to also figure out how you can help other people be successful. Again, I think all of us want the BU network to be strong, and I think the way that we do that is by offering to be helpful as much as we're looking to be helped. So some of the things that we talked about are things that you can all do as well. Posting a job opportunity using that hashtag that we talked about, or on the LinkedIn group. Many of you who have, work at great companies or have some career success, we want you to be a career advisor. So sign up to do that. We often have people who post questions on our LinkedIn group. We need smart people to answer them with their opinions. If you found a great article that you think people would want to read, post that on our LinkedIn group. Certainly, asking your employer or you yourself sign up to recruit and hire people on our Handshake account. That's a super important thing. We want BU people to get jobs. Can you help us? Yes, you can. So please do that. And then last but not least, I won't, make light of the fact that donating to BU for some of our scholarships can help other deserving students continue their careers at BU. Donating to, your school or college can oftentimes help us create new resources. We had a lot of people who recently donated to help rebuild the radio station over at that had, been destroyed in a fire. Those kinds of opportunities help students launch into careers. And so I certainly hope that you'll all consider making a gift to Boston University. Dirty little secret about donations. I think all of us really appreciate that BU has continued to climb in the rankings over the last 20 years or so. Well, guess what? Alumni participation in giving is a key factor in how places like U.S. News and World Report determine rankings. It's not necessarily the dollar amount that you donate, but the fact that you participate by giving back to BU drives BU up in the rankings. A lot of people don't actually know that. So that's pretty much it. Again, folks, my goal today was to do a very brief overview, let you know about some of the places that you can access some of these tools and how I think that you can best use them. But I certainly am here. We've got a couple of minutes remaining in the hour. If you've got questions, feel free to fire away, and we've got some coming in. Awesome, thank you. Okay, Carl, I learned about valuable resources. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear. Oh, that was just a thank you. Well, Carl, you're welcome. Thanks for your feedback. I appreciate that. Kate, great question. Do you have any resources for moms trying to break back into full-time workforce? I think again, the number certainly, Handshake. There are literally thousands of jobs posted. Some of them are part-time positions. Certainly some of them might be really well suited for somebody who's taken a break from the workforce for a while. But I think a lot of the things that we talked about, my advice to you might be take a look at the Career Advisory Network. See who the professionals are in your city that might be willing to meet with you for a cup of coffee to talk about the experiences that you've had. Certainly to talk about how, the time that you took off away from the workforce, I'm guessing to raise some kids. There's probably a lot of organizational and other skills that you learned in doing that. Time management, talk about how those things can apply to a potential position. So, Kate, I listed my email address here. I'd love to have a one-on-one conversation with you about how the resources that we have might help you out in your position. Seeing a lot of folks that are walking away with some action items. Alicia, thank you. Mark, thanks for tuning in here. Oh, Cece, great question. Okay. Is it correct we only need one password now for all the BU alumni and career sites we use? Can, Handshake, all of the links that we showed us? Unfortunately, no. Great question that you've asked. Many of the tools that we offer, some of them are, developed here at BU. Others are things that we purchased. I mentioned our online speed networking events. We purchased the software to provide those events. That software company needs you to create your own username and password for that opportunity. So my recommendation would be to really try to take good notes on what you've signed up for and where. Handshake, again, separate login. It's really complicated. Some of the things are fully integrated with the BU single sign-on, so using your BU username and Kerberos password. For those of you who attended BU before there was such a thing as a Kerberos password, you will need to create an account to access some of our tools. So CC, I hear you. It's kind of a pain in the neck. We all have 8 million usernames and passwords that I'm forgetting on a daily basis. It's complicated, but in order to provide those resources, we're doing the best that we can to try to make it seamless and integrated as possible, but in some cases it's not. Okay. Tim, is there anyone associated with Alumni Network or related resource who can advise about employment relations law? Troubleshooting with real issues about getting or keeping jobs, advancing at work. Great question, Tim. I think that certainly my colleagues at the Center for Career Development might have some resources for you about, if I guess maybe I might be reading into your question here, but if you're looking at, a potential lawsuit or something like that, the staff at the CCD might be able to help. The other thing I would suggest is if you are a BU School of Law alum or not, I would also pick up the phone and call BU School of Law and ask them if there is somebody, here's the truth. You might get a student worker who doesn't know how to answer your question. But I think if you just continue to try to reach out to some folks, maybe start by taking a look at the Law Alumni website, filling out an online form that they might have to ask that question. I think that you'll find that because you're an alum, people here at BU want to be helpful. And certainly, again, my email is here. I am not an employment lawyer, but I am definitely here to help you try and navigate that and maybe get answers to your questions. James, is my password my BU ID or an email address? James, you would be the only one who actually can answer questions about your password. We don't do anything around storing passwords. Okay, so your question might be this. You will need, if you're trying to create a new account to log into like BU alumni resources, you will need to find your Boston University ID number. And that's something that our help desk staff can help with. You'll need to show some provide us with some information so we can verify who you are, and that might you might find a little lag time in us getting back to you, but if you're patient with us, we will absolutely help you get your BU ID number if you don't remember it, and get you set up. And again, patience. I'm here to help. Hang on to my email address. I will make sure that we get you access to the things that you want to access. Sometimes it's a pain in the neck. I really appreciate everybody for weighing in with your thanks. I'm really glad to see that some of you found this to be useful. Again, it was just an introduction, and if I can be helpful, I don't claim to be a career coach, but I certainly can help people navigate these resources, and I think provide some suggestions on how you can leverage your BU network to be successful in the workplace. One last question. Questions from anybody? Wow, thanks everybody for your feedback. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that you found this useful. Again, I do think we have some great resources. It might take you a little bit of time to figure out how to use all of them and access them for one thing, but I do think that BU can be helpful in advancing all of your careers. That's it, everybody. Hang on to my email address. I'm around all afternoon if you want to shoot me an email with a specific question. Thank you everybody for participating. Thank you to those of you who've donated to BU in the past. I hope that you'll plan to join us for some upcoming career events. Keep an eye on your calendars for March. Thanks everybody. Have a great day or a great evening wherever you might be.